When I tell y'all that was one of the best basketball things I have ever seen. From the passing to the shooting to the defense, that was one of the best basketball talent, effort, just scheme, pressure moment for a regular season game. It was full of all of the things you love about NBA basketball, and the entire game lived up to the expectation. Leading into the game, everybody was hyping up Nikola Jokic versus Jason Tatum, the MVP battle. Nikola Jokic, Denver Nuggets versus the Boston Celtics. Who would take home the game? These are the two best teams in the NBA, league leading, record leading Boston Celtics coming into Denver, Colorado. Can they get revenge? And the Denver Nuggets absolutely shut the door in one of the most impressive wins of the NBA season, and maybe the most important game of the NBA season. Let's tap in. Y'all know what time it is. Let's get it, Swipa gang. Let's go. The Denver Nuggets take care of business and beat the Boston Celtics. Not the first time, but for the second time this season. 115-109 in one of the most dominant games of the win. And Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, KTP, Peyton Watson, Christian Brown, Reggie Jackson, Zeke Naji. Everybody that stepped on the court today did something to contribute to this win. And what I love is that it was on TNT. What I love is that it was in front of the world. What I love is that there was nobody else. Nobody else was focused on nothing else around the NBA. This was the game. This was the moment everybody got up for. Everybody got up for it. If you in Serbia, you watched it. If you in South America, you watched it. If you in Africa, you watched it. If you in Antarctica, you watched it. If you in the Arctic, you watched it. If you in Canada, you watched it. If you in China, you watched it. If you in Japan, you watched it. If you are in the United States and you wanted to watch NBA basketball played at the highest level, you watched this game. If you was in Paris, you watched it. Everybody tuned in for this game tonight, and it was not to disappoint. It was one of the best games you are going to see. And I'm telling y'all right now, we've been talking about this all year. This was the game. The Boston Celtics, they reload. They get Kristaps Porzingis. They get Drew Holiday. The Boston Celtics, one of the best regular seasons in NBA history. One of the best regular season teams in NBA history per their net rating. They're dominating the Eastern Conference. They're running through the league. Only had lost 13 games so far this year. Jason Tatum, the top 5 MVP candidate. They got maybe the best starting 5, the best 6-man rotation in the NBA. And yet, you come to Denver, Colorado. And yet, you come to the Mile High City. And yet, you come to 5280 and you run into the best player in the world. You run into the real best team in the league. You run into the NBA champion. And for the second game, not the first, for the second game, the Denver Nuggets take care of business in the clutch. And this is what I said before the game. If you caught me on Locked On Nuggets, if you caught me on another platform, I said, what's really going to tell the story of this game is not a blowout for either team. What's really going to tell the story of this game is not going to be the Boston Celtics winning by 50. What's really going to tell the story of this game is not the Nuggets beating Boston in Denver by 45 points. What's really going to be indicative of how good these teams are and what you can expect should they meet up in the NBA Finals is how the two teams handle pressure down the stretch of the game, how two teams show up down the stretch of the game, which stars are willing to put on the show with the world on their back and everybody watching and all the marbles on the table for the NBA Finals. Who can get it done? Who's going to have the dogs to get it done? And yet, everybody's saying that the Boston Celtics are inevitable. The Boston Celtics got what it takes. The Boston Celtics, hey, it's championship or bust. And we get to today in the Mile High City. And yet, the Denver Nuggets say, not this time, not today, not this year. This ain't your era. The best player in the world shows up against the best team in the league with the top 2 defense, shows up versus Kristaps Porzingis, versus the Embiid destroyer Al Horford, versus the team that's been locking down everybody. And all of a sudden, for yet another game, the last time Nikola Jokic saw the Boston Celtics, it was 34-12-9. And today, Nikola Jokic played versus the same Boston Celtics team and absolutely puts them to bed. Puts them to bed. Nikola Jokic tonight, 39 minutes played. 39 minutes played, 32 points, 12 rebounds, 11 assists on 11 of 19 shooting, 10 of 10 from the free throw line, 2 steals, and he was a +9 in this game. By the way, not in an inefficient night, Nikola Jokic versus the Boston Celtics had a 71% true shooting tonight. 71% true shooting. So this is what I'm trying to understand is this is the team that's designed to stop them. Everybody said last playoff that the reason Jokic went 30, 14, and 7 on 67 true shooting because he played versus Bam Adebayo. The reason that they said he was only good in the finals because he didn't see the Boston Celtics. The Celtics have the bodies to throw at Joker. They got Kristoff. They got Xavier Tillman. They got Al Horford. They got everybody you need. They got the wings and Tatum and Brown. They got the guards and Derek White and Drew Holiday. They got it all. But yet, even still, it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, I have said this for literal years. If you have the best player in the world on your roster, and that roster is healthy, the odds of you beating them are slim to none. And again, this don't mean single game sample size. They can't lose. They just lost to the Suns in overtime. The Suns beat them in that game. But the problem is you get into a series where I got to figure you out every single day. You get into a series where I get to see you every other day. We get into a series where I know exactly what you gonna do on both ends of the court. We get into a series where I know what your weaknesses are. We get into a series, I know how to attack you. We get into a series, I know exactly what coverages you're throwing at me on a play-by-play basis. That's the difference. When you guard Joker, when you guard Jamal Murray, when you guard Michael Porter, Aaron Gordon, KCP, it ain't like you guarding just any of your team. This ain't guarding the Miami Heat. Respect. This ain't guarding the 76ers. Respect. This ain't guarding the Lakers, not guarding the Wolves. The difference is when all these dudes are on the court together, they are almost an unstoppable dynamite. They play together. They outthink you. They out-hustle you, and they outplay you. And here's the thing. You think you want to load up. So the Boston Celtics, as smart as they are, what their game plan was last 5 minutes of the game, we can't have Al Horford in here with Kristaps Porzingis. So what do? They put Drew Holiday. Great defender, on Nikola Jokic because what they wanted to do is get a roamer with KP off of AG, and they thought that would be the move. Maybe if we can distract Joker with Ling, maybe we can shut him down. But here's the thing. Jokic has been looking at that since the Derek Favors, Rudy Gobert days when they were doing the same thing. So this has been something he's seen multiple times. So this game, Jamal Murray gets the ball to the nail. He gets there, game on the line, rolls to the basket, rolls to the rim, but instead of shooting a contested jumper, he throws a lob to Aaron Gordon for the dunk to ice the game. So just to be clear, in the last few possessions of this game, the Boston Celtics put Drew Holiday on Nikola Jokic, and then they either loaded up, so Jokic had to pass to KCP for wide open threes. They would then show and contest when he went into his roll for a finger roll and he threw it to Aaron Gordon, or they would say, hey, Kristaps, you got it. No help. You got it. Single coverage, no help. Don't worry about it. And then Kristaps Porzingis absolutely gets flame broiled and cooked. The Latvian barbecue special. As Shaquille O'Neal said, got ate up in one-on-one coverage. So you put Al Horford out there, you're cooked. You put Kristaps out there, you're cooked. You put Xavier Tillman out there, you cooked. You double, you're cooked. You trap, you're cooked. You single, you're cooked. There's levels to this. And people still have questions about who the best player in the world is. So you got a dude who can be the best scorer in the league, best playmaker in the league, and then can rebound like crazy, and they play defense. Everybody gets to see. Matter of fact, all 735 of y'all that are sitting in here right now, I want y'all to understand this. Listen up. Because the Boston Celtics, they shot 29% from three. They took 38 threes today. This is the best three-point shooting team in the league. So, yeah, they underperformed today. They didn't shoot well. But what have I told y'all? That doesn't win you series. What did the Denver Nuggets shoot tonight? The Denver Nuggets shot 4-21 from three tonight. What did the Denver Nuggets shoot in Game 5 of the NBA Finals? They made 5 threes. 5 of them in Game 5 of the NBA Finals. They won by 94-89, and Jokic had 28 and 16 and put them away on 75% shooting from the field. Because this is the way basketball works. I'm trying to help people understand this. You may win with jump shot once or twice versus a team that built inside out. You may get good victories every so often, but the problem is if you try to take into a game plan and a strategy in a series versus a team that scored easy buckets every single possession, that can get any shot they want every single possession, and you're chucking up threes, you might get hot once or twice. But the issue is you can't beat them 4 times doing that. And you got a chance to see today. As soon as the Celtics started missing shots, as soon as the Celtics three-point barrage went away, whenever they were not hitting their threes, the game would get away from them. And this is including with the bench. The entire Denver Nuggets bench was in the positive plus minus today. Let me run these stats off for you real quick. Nikola Jokic, 32, 12, and 11. By the way, can y'all do me a favor? Somebody call Adam Silver. Go ahead. Let me tell you. Send the address to Sombor, Serbia. MV3 is on the way. MV3, Sombor, Serbia. And if you would like to, because it costs too much for shipping and handling, you can send it to me in Denver, Colorado. I'll drop it off here at Ball Arena, and I'll take the trophy, and I'll go to Serbia myself this summer, and I'll hand it to him. Either way, whatever you think, it's going to be Jokic's MVP to lose. That's just what's going on. That's what's going on. Nobody else is like this. There's nobody else like this in the league. I'm glad we all get to see it. I'm glad you get to witness it. I'm glad you were entertained. I'm glad you know it. So let's move. Jamal Murray tonight, 19.6 rebounds, 8 assists, 7 of 18 from the field, +4. Playmaking out of the wazoo. Playmaking out of the wazoo. Great game from Jamal Murray. Didn't shoot super well from the field, but guess what? He held up the bench minute with no Jokic in the game. Let me tell y'all how bad it got today. Joe Mazzulla gave you an NBA Finals preview. Do you know what he did? Because they were struggling so badly. They were struggling so badly with the Jokic minute. Do you know what Joe Mazzulla did? Which I thought was very smart of him, but it also showed how desperate things got. Joe Mazzulla, at the start of the fourth quarter, he put in, again, no Jokic. It was Jamal Murray, it was Christian Brown, Justin Holiday, Peyton Watson, and Zeke Naji. Joe Mazzulla put Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum in, and Kristaps Porzingis with Al Horford. He put his 4 best players on the court. Whatever you think about Derek White, 4 of his 5 best players on the court with no Nikola Jokic, because he knew. Listen into this. And this is smart. He needs to do this because he knew the only way the Boston Celtics were going to win this game is if they took over those non-Jokic minutes. Because as soon as Jokic came back on the court, it was curtain. But here's the thing. Everybody always got something to say about Jamal. But what did Jamal do well? He stabilized the bench. What does that mean, Swipa? When you stabilize, that doesn't mean the bench has to win its minutes by crazy. It doesn't mean you got to shoot crazy on both ends. Remember, the second stint, Jamal Murray didn't shoot super well. That first stint, though, he was cooking everybody in the mid-range. He was cooking everybody in the mid-range. And that first stint in that second quarter, Jamal Murray, multiple possessions. He had a 2-point midi on Jaylen Brown. He had a 2-point post midi on Derek White. He had a 2 driving to the basket, heavy tweet off Xavier Tillman. Now, a lot of people are like, well, he didn't shoot super well. But here's the thing. If you can get your second best player to stabilize or win, but stabilization is more important because it's easier and to rely on a stabilized second unit than it is for a unit that wins its minutes. But the difference was today, Jamal Murray, when he did stabilize those minutes, Jokic would come back in the game up 2. Jokic would come back in the game up 4. Jokic would come back in the game up 6. And then what happens is, if that happened, you then get the best player in the world with a bench unit with, again, somebody I told y'all about, Peyton Watson. The day he was drafted, I told you, Peyton Watson has potential to be the best defender in this franchise since Marcus Camby in 2007, 2008. In every single game, the dude understands the game even more. He gets better and better. And guess what Peyton Watson did today? 11 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 5 of 9 from the field. He had 2 blocks, 1 steal. He was a plus 11 in his minutes. The formula, if you give Jokic defenders, you give Jokic length, you give Jokic players that are athletic, that are understanding of the game is up there, they take it to another level. And Peyton Watson is going to be one of the most important players in this franchise now and for years to come. Shout out Peyton Watson. Shout out Jamal Murray for stabilizing those bench units. And again, when he and Nikola Jokic are on the court, you're almost cooked every single time. Every single time. That's what I'm trying to tell folks. Beating Denver is not about just stopping scoring or stopping passing. Beating Denver is about being able to psychologically withstand the amount of pressure you face on a possession-by-possession basis. You might shoot a lot of three-pointers, and you might just make them. The problem is getting to the point where you can just solve Denver on every single possession. That's the problem. And doing that 4 times in a series is the issue. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, first-team All-NBA defender. His defense was incredible tonight. Incredible. 34 minutes, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 4 of 7 from the field. A huge three-pointer made, 1, 2, 3 steals. Y'all, KCP, the reason why the Nuggets defense is so great and dangerous on the POA, KCP multiple times, Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum, they would drive, they would get Jokic in the pick and roll, they would then extend the pick and roll as far out as possible, and they would try to get KP, who shot well, they would try to get KP on that three-point line, and what happened is Tatum multiple times, literally get the ball, drive, he would throw it out to KP, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, like a blur, like a bullet, like Superman, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope will come out of nowhere. He would literally come out of nowhere and steal the ball, go in transition, and go score. This is why somebody like KCP is first team all defense, because he knows his role. He does his job, and he communicates and sticks to it. KCP was incredible today. Aaron Gordon tonight. By the way, Aaron Gordon, who is one of the most important trades of this decade, March 25th, 2021, the Denver Nuggets get him in a trade for Gary Harris, RJ Hampton, and a first-round pick. Today, Aaron Gordon has 16 points, 9 rebounds, 1 assist on 8 of 13 from 2 with the steal. And guess what? Aaron Gordon absolutely put the game away, because that short roll with Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, it's not a 2-man game, it's a 3-man game, because now you got decisions to make. If Jokic gets it in that little hook shot area, it's going up. And if you step up, Aaron Gordon is coming up for the lob. And if you are late, he's going to kill you in that action. And again, they're being flanked by Michael Porter and KCP. Malone just talked about this in the press conference. We just left. That's what makes the Nuggets so hard to deal with. You got Murray, one of the elite shot makers in the league. You got Jokic, perhaps the best scorer in the league. And you got Aaron Gordon, one of the best lob threats in the league. And then you got KCP and MPJ, 2 of the best shooters in the league. That's what makes them so indomitable. That's why it's so difficult. So Aaron Gordon, man, he had a putback on a Jokic miss, literally grabs the ball like Sean Kemp, dunks it, and absolutely puts it in, bro. Just a great game from Aaron Gordon. And let me shout out somebody. The Boston Celtics, man, Jaylen Brown had 41 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists on 16 of 29 from the field. He was 2 of 7 from 3. He had 2 steals. He was a +5 in his minute. Jaylen Brown balled today. Give Jaylen Brown his flowers. He doesn't get the credit. He doesn't get the love on this roster. He doesn't get the appreciation. Tatum in top 5 MVP talk. Jason Tatum today has his second bad game versus the Nuggets. 15 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists, 5 of 13 from the field, -2 in his minute with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 turnovers today. But I thought the Nuggets didn't have the defenders to do that. Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., Peyton Watson. Oh, by the way, I was told that Jamal Murray was food. Jamal Murray on back-to-back possessions got put in the post by Jason Tatum. The first one led to a steal turnover started by Jamal Murray. The second one was an offensive foul on Jason Tatum on back-to-back possession. And then he forced it out of bounds to Jaylen Brown because he double trapped, put his hand in there, and Jaylen Brown threw it out of bounds. Jamal Murray, everybody thinks that he's not a good defender, which is cool. He's not a great defender, but the thing is, he's 6'4". And again, I'm sitting here in the arena. I'm watching them play. He is almost the same height as Jaylen Brown. I think people just misunderstand how tall he is. Like, he's not a small dude. So when he's in the game, the Nuggets have a 6'4.5", a 6'5", 6'10", 6'9", and 7-foot player, and they're all athletes, and they all believe in each other. And then you get Peyton Watson at 6'8", super freak athlete off the bench, or Christian Brown at 6'6", Justin Holiday at 6'6", Zeke Naji at 6'11". They don't play. The only person on the roster that's undersized is Reggie Jackson. But like, he's played sparing minutes today. They didn't play with it. Like, he played today. Reggie Jackson played 11 minutes today, was a +2. Zeke Naji played 8 minutes, was a +2. Justin Holiday today, he played 13 minutes, he was a +6. Christian Brown was a +9. Peyton Watson was a +11. A +11. So this is what I'm saying is the Nuggets They have just figured out cohesion. They have figured out chemistry. They figured out communication. They have figured out that if we get you into a box, like that's the thing. The Nuggets, people get confused. They made, again, today, the Celtics shot 29% from three. The Nuggets shot 19% from three. But the Nuggets, the way they play is we can beat you pretty if the moment calls for it and we need to score 130 points, like they did in game one versus the Lakers when they scored 132 points. But the thing is, the Nuggets want to get you into a phone booth. If you know what the term means, when you fight in a phone booth, there's no space. So you can't do all this dancing and all this moving. You got to get in, you got to body, and it's good. When you get the knockout punch, you lean in and you get it out. That's the thing. The Nuggets are built to fight in a phone booth. We want to get you into a phone booth because we're bigger than you, we're tougher than you, we're smarter than you, and we're willing to do what it takes to get the win more times than you are. That's why the Nuggets are so freaking dominant, man. It was just an exceptional game. The Nuggets today, they only had 27 assists, but they had 7 turnovers. They held the Celtics 24 assists, and they caused 12 turnovers. That's a 2-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. That's really good. The Celtics had 13 offensive rebounds. They had 11 in the first half. They had 2 in the second half. The Nuggets shut their water off on their offensive boards in the second half. The Nuggets had 4 blocks. Celtics had 3. The Nuggets had 10 steals. The Celtics had 6. And the free throw line, both teams got to the free throw line a lot. The Celtics got 25 free throw attempts. They shot 16 of 25 for 64%. The Nuggets, understanding the moment, Jokic with 10 free throws himself, they were 21 of 22, 95% from the free throw line. So this is what I mean. This is why when I talk about the Nuggets, I realize people can get a little frustrated sometimes because it's like, Swipa, you think you know everything. And again, I really don't. But when I talk about, I've been watching this team since I was a child. I've seen every era. And I've watched this Jokic era, Malone, Murray era since its inception. I know who they are. I know what drives them. And if you put them in a situation like this, where everything is on the line, they already lost. 2017-18, they lost the game to go to the playoff to the Timberwolves. 2018-19, they lost in game 7 because Jamal Murray wasn't good enough. That's just what happened. He understood that. And they lost. Then the next year they lost to the Lakers because they weren't good enough. And then they lost Murray for 2 seasons, basically. Michael Porter for 1 season. They have done nothing but lose. That's what I want people to get. Champions are made through losing. Champions are made through pressure. Champions are made through failing. They've already failed. So these moments, the reason why they're so good is because they've already lost. So there's nothing to be afraid of. I don't have to be afraid of something when I already know how it feels, but I know what it means to win. I know what it means to do the things you have to do to win. I know what it means to put forth the effort to win, to play together, to play with the chemistry. They don't play isolation basketball. We don't chuck threes. That's not the way they play. They play everybody on a string. You do your job, I'll do my job, and I promise you, if we do our jobs together and I cover for you when you make mistakes, that's how we're going to beat you. That's how we're going to win. That's how we're going to get the job done. And that's why the Denver Nuggets are reigning NBA champion. They swept the season series versus the Boston Celtics. I'm glad everybody realized it. I'm glad everybody knows. Nikola Jokic, not nothing to play with. Best player in the NBA since Prime Bron. And you can deal with that however you want to. A lot of people don't like to hear it, but that's just a fact. And you saw it with yourself. This is 34-12-9 in game 1 versus the Celtics in a win. Best team in the NBA. That's what everybody's telling us. One of the best regular season teams of all time. That's what the numbers are telling us. 34-12-9 in Boston, and then you come back to Denver, and Nikola Jokic, 32-12-11 on 11-19 with a 71.4% true shooting. And folks are still acting and asking me, how do you know he's the best player in the world? The competition he played last year was weak. Well, guess what? This is the very best he can get. This is the best he can get. This is the best he can get. And in these 2 matchups, Jokic is averaging 32, 12, and 10 on like 70% true shooting. So you deal with it. Statement win. Let's stay healthy. Shout out to you, Cedric. My dog always in the chat. I'm gonna visit Denver in April. Hope to meet you, Swipa. Absolutely. If you in Denver and you see me, I took pictures with people today. I shook hands with the folk. If you see me, always show love. I'm always here. Y'all my folk. Y'all have helped me to get to this point. So y'all my folk, man. Again, Denver Nuggets, they take care of the Boston Celtics, not just the first time, for the second time this season. Denver Nuggets, NBA champions, looking to repeat. Best player in the world. NBA, Peyton Washington, Deke Najee, Christian Brown, Justin Holiday, Reggie Jackson, the bench finisher minute, Michael Porter, Aaron Gordon, KCP, everybody. Best starting five in the league, best team in the NBA. Y'all know what time it is. Swipe a game. Like, share, and subscribe to the video. Y'all know what we do. Denver Nuggets, we out.